God, help us to understand truth, help us to learn the thing we need to learn, and apply the things we need to apply, open our hearts, help us to love fully. Amen.
Amen.
Course in Miracles text, we're going to do 10 today.
Can you hear us?
We'll start with 9 to work up to 10. Miracles are a kind of exchange, like all expressions of love, which are always miraculous in the true sense. The exchange reverses the physical laws. They bring more love both to the giver and the receiver. 11. Prayer.
10.
10. The use of miracles as spectacles to induce belief is a misunderstanding of their purpose. A lot of miracles as a spectacle or just how people think of them today is a spectacle. You're like, it was a miracle, which means people use it like, oh, it wasn't supposed to happen and it happened. It's completely external world related. So if you can see it and you don't understand how it happened, you can just call it a miracle. In fact, people use miracle as just like, wow, it was so awesome. You could also use that as a miracle, just in common day language.
Like this pizza is a miracle.
Oh my God, it's a miracle. I got here on time. I could have sworn it was going to be late. Yeah, that's right. But any kind of spectacle in general is external in nature, meaning that something in the world has changed. And the Course has a word for that. It calls it magic. So anything that changes the outside world, that's used to change the outside world, is magic, which has no connotation of bad. It doesn't say it's bad. And it also doesn't say miracles are good. But it's just something that's different. If you're trying to change the outside world, you're playing the same game. And if you're playing the same game, you are building an obstacle to the inside game, because there's an internal working that never changes. There's an internal working that is a true identity. And we have built up a story and beliefs and judgments that have been like boulders that have covered it up, like buried it. I don't know if you've ever seen one of those Western movies where somebody dies, but the ground's too hard and they're out in the middle of nowhere and they just put rocks over them. Yeah. You've seen they don't even dig down. They're just boulders. And that's kind of how this thing called love is within us. It's in us. It's actually not far at all. It is us, and we have all these boulders of judgments, and the judgment says, how can I be loved? What do you mean? I feel so frustrated. I'm so separate. I'm so small, or I'm so big, or I'm better than you, or you're better than me, or they should be doing this, or they shouldn't be doing that, or I don't understand, or I understand. All of those just judgments on this reality of a true identity, which is eternal, and the experience of love, high resonance. And so the way that you can tell if you are moving towards true identity versus moving towards this egoic identity that we have made up ourselves, Course calls it our miscreation. The way you can tell if we're moving towards the miscreation or the one true creation is how you feel. And your feeling, it's really just resonance. Your feelings are exactly like we were talking about before, like the sand on the membrane. If you've seen those, I forget what it's called. It's like sonography or something like that, where they make these different patterns based on different sound waves, and they can do it with water, and you can do it with just fine sand on top of a membrane. And the sand doesn't change, the membrane doesn't change, but you look at it and you're like, no, it's different. Look, it's different. What do you mean it's not changed? Look, and then the pattern changes. No, that's different. The pattern changes, the pattern changes, the pattern changes. And you can go, and it's like, and it clicks into, if you weren't in the know, you would say, oh, that's a different thing. But it's not a different thing. And that's how the whole universe is. Just these different resonances that everything clicks into this different form.
But we're all sand.
But we're all the same stuff. That's right. We're all made out of God stuff. Which, if we're all made out of God stuff and everything is made out of God stuff, could there ever be a separate from God? I don't think we can ever be separate from God, because even the separate place that we make that's separate from God and the tools we use to banish, or the tools that are using to banish and put you in the separate place is made out of God. The tool is made out of God. Everything is God stuff.
Sure.
So you can't ever be actually separate from God, but you can sure as hell have the experience of being separate from God.
Yeah.
I tried to put hell in there. I don't know. Is that appropriate?
You can say hell in front of her. Yes.
That was appropriate too, because we're talking about hell.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't take it where I thought when you were going with that, with how you feel, you were going to be talking about the two polarities of like positive, expansive emotions versus negative, contracting emotions, as a way to figure out where you're, whether you are in alignment, whether, because you can only serve one God, one master, right? Like you were going back to what you were saying about you can create in the world if you want and create magic, or you can choose to be in alignment with true source. The course doesn't judge you, discover bad, but you can only choose one, and you can decide, and you can know which one you are choosing by how you feel, if you get the emotion of feeling contracted, then you know that you are serving the ego, versus when you are feeling expanded.
There you go.
You know you can. You're
Is that right?
Yeah, that's it's a wonderful thing that you can experiment. Here's the challenge: is you got to fine tune it. So you can use, I'm feeling expansive, I'm feeling light, I'm feeling good, I'm moving towards love. I mean, loosely you can do that at the beginning. You can do that. And I'm feeling contracted, I'm feeling fearful, I'm feeling angry, I'm moving towards fear, because there's only love and fear. Yes, for sure. And be careful though, because that thing can be very egoic, right? Because there's the whole do what feels good, and people are doing horrible things that you're like, how is that possibly
Like it feels good
love?
to let go of you as a friend. I feel good, but like this isn't good.
Yeah, well, for example, look at the
Because I should have been loving you instead of like easily letting go and making it like easy for me because I'm happy.
yes, well, all the various increments of resonance change, we've put a name on it. So we like to do that. Humans, ego way is to name everything and isolate it, and that separates it from all of creation, separates it from reality, really, when we put a name on it, because we're like, oh, now that is that thing, and now I don't have to think about it anymore, and then I miss the glory of God, because it's now what I named it, or I've accepted as a name. Even so, it's really helpful names are helpful to live life the way that we live life. And so we've named all these increments of resonance. And so we have on the bottom, super low resonance, we have like shame and guilt, and then a lot higher we have fear, and then a lot higher we have anger, and then a lot higher we have courage, and then a lot higher we have I don't know what would be the next. We'd step into
knowledge, wisdom.
yeah, something like that. So like then a little higher is
chakra system.
neutrality, and then a little higher is curiosity, and then a little higher is compassion. It's like the resonance gets higher and higher and higher, and we have these different names for those states of being. So if you're, for example, in fear and you get angry, it feels really good. Like the feeling is, wow, this is good. It's powerful. If you are truly in fear, you may say no, but before you say no, consider it, because I've spent my experience, consider first, because what happens is anger is not overcoming the fear. Anger is a burst of energy that helps you moving forward.
Fear, that's part of our growth process, right?
Well, there is no supposed to. We're going to feel whatever it is, and nothing's bad. Okay, so tell me now, why do you say no?
I think I know I think I understand where you're going, and this is something I think it's really good that I'm jumping in on this conversation, because this is like what you're saying about the blocking, right? Because I feel like there is something core that you were saying even in the very beginning that I missed, because I was expecting you to talk about positive versus negative emotions, right? And then you're talking about form, and I'm like, my brain's still just trying.
Yeah. Well, good thing we recorded it.
I go on rants too, so maybe I was going to say
that. He
does.
Yeah. I was waiting for it too, because I was writing, and then I was like, wait, he didn't write the ending of my sentence. So I was trying to listen.
It's a run-on sentence. I'm still in the middle of it.
We're still learning, though. He's definitely taught me to learn in a very different way than I'm used to. Than by the book 1, 2, 3, 4. We're like 1, 3, 6, 2.
And I think I understand what you mean about the anger can feel good, but good is not the same as expansive. So, yes, when you're feeling expansive, it's so I'm basing this off of Ra's Law of One and the difference in polarities of the emotions, and how the anger might feel good versus shame, because it is a higher resonance and it is a more empowering feeling, right? But that's not the same as expansive. An expansive feeling is one where you don't need to, when you're getting out of that ego, right? So the lower, and as you're talking about resonance, I'm thinking chakras. So moving up the chakras, when you're in anger, it's your second chakra. When you're in fear, it's your third chakra, wanting to get this false sense of control. So when you're getting out of those 3 lower sectors and you're able to see more of the oneness, that's when you can feel expansive. So, but
yes, you're right. Just remember, when you're in a fearful state, to jump from fearful to expansive, or the Course calls it love only extends. So when you're in the state of love, the only thing it does is extend. It just keeps on being love and keeps on rolling. So we're not there. If you think you're in a body, you're not there. Okay, so where are we at? Where is the experience of where we're at? Well, the experience could be all across the board, because the Course also says there is only love or fear. Those are the only two things as far as experience goes. And so what have we done? Well, we've really chopped up this experience called separation, and we just have a bunch of labels for it. And so true expansion would feel a lot more free. Absolutely. The freedom of it would definitely not be the feeling of anger or the feeling of courage or any of those things. Absolutely.
Yeah, it would be more of realizing, for instance, with the fear and anger, I'm feeling afraid, and so now my ego is going to help me get out of the fear by getting angry and make it seem like this other person is blocking a result that I am entitled to, that is going to make me happy, outcome happiness, and realizing, no, there's really nothing that has to happen on the outside. Like, and you can thank the person, whoever is like seemingly blocking whatever you are trying to get at, your ego is telling you need from the outside, and this person is the obstacle. By recognizing that, no, this person is just helping you see that there is something within you where you believe you are not deserving, or you don't have this whatever the outcome represents for you, right? That if you believe that that's going to give you happiness, and you realize there's something already blocking within you, and when you come to that realization, that's when you feel that expansiveness and that release. So I'm trying to understand how that relates to what you were talking about, form and resonance.
So it applies because they're two different things. A lot of our literature is trying to teach something. Like Ra was trying to teach us. Basically, Ra was trying to teach. At first they were trying to, help the Egyptians, and they taught them too much, right? And then they used that power. And so then Ra cut it back a ton and be like, all right, let's simplify this stuff. Let's simplify. So now, they were with Carla, and I don't remember the other guys, but they gave the law of one, and the teaching was more extensive, but not enough to build a pyramid, and do the healing chambers and all that stuff, because that one, humans couldn't handle that. They ended up using it for evil. But then once again, they're like, wow, I think we taught too much. It was too much knowledge for these guys. They don't know how to use it. And so then they simplified it again. Have you ever heard of Corey Good? All right, so Corey Good and some other guys, the new message that was supposedly from Ra, again, seems like it is. Their new message is eat high resonance foods, and forgive, engage in loving actions. It's like super simple. That like each time it comes back, it's like less elaborate, less teaching, less details, less form, and so all that stuff is really interesting. All the layers of the chakra are really interesting, but all of it is form. All that information is form.
So get out of that.
All the steps are form.
Is what you're saying.
All the understanding of when you talk about form, what is form, it's all of that. It's understanding in general. If you have to sit and try to think about understanding it, that's the world of form.
And you're missing it completely.
And it's hard to say what we're missing or not missing. It's not like you're missing it because you are it. You can't miss it. It's more like you have distracted yourself in different patterns, and you can definitely distract yourself in a virtual reality movie where you've got goggles on and earbuds on, and things on your skin so you can feel things, and you're floating, and so you're like completely immersed, and now you're like completely distracted with all of your senses. And then you can also distract yourself by can't stop watching this kid out the window when you're in a business meeting, and you can't pay attention to the meeting because you keep watching this kid. It's like one tiny thing could completely distract us. And so we have the capacity to being completely distracted with the simplest of things. And that's all the world is. If we have chosen for whatever reason to be distracted of things of form. And the primary thing, even if there's nothing else that you think is distracting you, the primary thing that's distracting you is you think you are a body. That's the primary thing. And if you didn't think you are a body, it's a good context. Like I have the concept in my mind, the thinking, understanding that I'm not a body. Okay, I get that. But yet, I still get upset or about not having enough. There's not going to be enough. Someone's taking from me. I'm hurt. My body hurts. I don't want your body to hurt. I don't want my kid's body to hurt. I don't want my kid's body to perish. I don't want someone to take my kid's body. I don't want someone to take my wife's body. I don't want, it's all these things that are because I believe we are bodies. Now, it's not bad, but it's the world of form. It's the world of bodies. If we could possibly move into I'm not a body, then miraculous things happen, like we live completely in integrity to the point of giving your body over completely. And that's why it was not a huge thing for Jesus to give his body over and to stay completely in alignment with integrity, with his beliefs, the things he was teaching everybody. And that's why everybody else was freaking out, like, no, you can't do that, Jesus, you can't give up your body. And body's like, no, it's okay, it's nothing. They're like, what? Because our body is everything. It's everything because it's us. And that is the human propensity to put identity on things. That car is not a big deal, but my car, that's scratched my car, and then it becomes a big deal. My pen, it was my pen on my desk. It's the pen I use. I love that pen. I like the way it feels on my skin, on my fingers, and they took my pen. And it becomes this like big deal. Where does that come from?
Yeah, for sure.
It's identity.
Yeah.
And we can do that so easily. There might, you've heard of people like, there's mean people in the world. It's like, well, they're an asshole, but they're my asshole, right? And then we have this, thing where they just become mine, and we embrace them and we love them. And there's kind of a beautiful part about that, because you can also see in that the asshole can be lovable. You just got to make them your asshole. But
Sure.
there's that underlying phenomenon of identity, right? Identity. But if you keep that up, that very same thing of that asshole, my asshole, okay, now I love you because you're my asshole. The guy hasn't changed. That crazy kid, oh, my crazy kid, I love you. It's like, well, this crazy family, those crazy people making too much noise. Oh, my crazy family making too much noise. Okay, well, I love you, my family. And then you can expand it, even all these crazy humans. Imagine being attacked by aliens, and now the greatest enemy you could have ever imagined as a human, they're now your human, basically, because now we're together. Us humans are against the aliens because they're trying to kill humans. So now you're my friend. Like, instantly, these enemies that we have in our mind can change and shift with those different contexts, right? And then on and on and on it goes. Could it be you expand and or envelop their my human, my world, my universe, to the point where you have a bigger view, and maybe from the outside you can see it and you just see one body. It's just one body. We were fighting, and then we realized, oh, we're white blood cells in one body trying to fight to stay in or keep an organism alive, or red blood cells, or maybe you're a red blood cell and I'm a white blood cell, and and I'm like, you're weak, and you're like, you're violent. But we're all part of the same thing. We are a part of the same thing. In fact, we are the same thing. And all these ideas of differences are part of this world of form. We like to split things up. We like to have you different from me. And the reason we really like it is because we need it. We need differences. We need you to be you and me to be me for survival. And then when the differences collapse, the freak out happens as if you were dying. But the part of you that's dying is not the real you. The part of you that's dying is that separate persona, that separate story that's reoccurring, called the ego. And the crazy thing about the ego, according to the Course, is the ego is the first crazy thought. I forget the language in the Course calls it the wild crazy thought. What will come up to it? That what would it be like to be different? What would it be like to be special? What would it be like to be special and separate? And according to the Course, that is the whole universe. It says that the music of heaven has not missed one beat with this story of you, the story of separation. It's like there was never a you left heaven and came back and then there was this big time. There was never a separation. Not even a beat in the Song of Heaven was missed. But when it comes to the power of God, infinite, all-inclusive, everywhere, it can seem like a whole universe of universes, filled with worlds and worlds of worlds and lives of lives and all that stuff. And so here we are, having the experience of being separate in a world of form, and none of it's real, but it's a very real experience. And what do we do with it? That is the question. According to the Course, which is just designed to help us wake up to identity, the true identity is you can't teach love, you can't teach who you really are, but you can help. What did it call? It says the Course does not aim at teaching the meaning of love, for that's beyond what can be taught. It does aim, however, at removing the blocks to the awareness of love presence, which is your natural inheritance. The opposite of fear is love, but what is all-encompassing can have no opposite. And so we just increase our awareness. And the way that you increase your awareness is you remove the blockages, those rocks, which is the practice of forgiving.
And less judgment.
Yeah, and
I guess, you said we're still judging.
The judgments, it's not a matter of, it's just being aware. Awareness in itself is very healing. If you just be more aware of you hurting yourself, you hurt yourself less. We only hurt ourselves consistently when we're not aware of what we're doing. We think it's working, or we think it's going to work anyway. Even if it hasn't worked 100 times, it's just like, that's better than nothing. Do it again.
Yeah.
And but if we increased our awareness enough, the